Our team, our community. This is Condors Town, and this is another Energy Condors connection. Now, here's Erik Fox and Ryan Holt.
I think this might be the first time in a while that we've had 2 Thursdays at 10 a.m. in a row.
We're rolling. We are rolling right now.
Here. It's Condors Connection here with Energy 95.3, and of course Ryan Holt from the Bakersfield Condors. How you doing, my friend?
I'm great. Voice a little hoarse. A couple goals to call last night, so that was fun. And feeling it this morning, so that's great.
We'll talk about that in a moment. Of course, it was Energy Night, so I'm gonna take some credit, even though I don't deserve a dang part of it. But let's jump into the talk as we always do. We first talk about the Oilers, the parent organization. Big night for McDavid last night, and a roll going on for the Oilers right now. 60th goal. I mean, that's not too shabby.
Yeah, not a lot of guys hit 60. A lot haven't. It's been back-to-back years now. Matthews did it last year, but there hasn't been a 60 goal scorer, I don't think, since the early 90s. I think with McGillney and Yager and Lemieux back in the 80s, and obviously Gretzky. So it's a great milestone. I wouldn't even say Connor probably calls himself a goal scorer, which is he's a hockey player, but I think he views himself more of a playmaker than anything. But he's added the goals to his repertoire this year, certainly. Leon, I think, mentioned to him in the offseason, hey, you can score 60 whenever you feel like it. And obviously he feels like it this year. And I wouldn't put 70 past him. He's got 60 and 72 games. You get 10 games left. I wouldn't put 70 past him the way this team plays, and some of the opponents down the stretch. And we'll see what happens.
Let's talk about the 10 games less, because obviously we're heading towards playoff time, and they not bad for the Oilers. Last 5 they've won, and 8-2-0. But Vegas and LA keep winning as well, which makes it a little bit harder. How's that looking as the playoff run happens?
Yeah, it's looking more and more like a rematch of last year's first round against the Kings, right? But we'll see how the 10 games play out. But I think you just want to be playing as good as you can. You can't control what other teams do, right. This time of year. What you can control is how you play. We'll talk about it with the Condors, the same kind of situation. You can't control, where other teams are and who they play. And, if they, get upset, if they, steal points away from a team, if they get to overtime, you just have to go out and win hockey games. And that's what the Oilers are doing right now. And, let the chips fall as they may. You're going to, it's the National Hockey League. You're going to play a team in the first round of the playoffs that's very good, no matter who you are. So, it's going to be 4 tough series to win the Stanley Cup, and it'll start. It looks like against LA, but we'll see what happens.
Let's go and transition into talking about the local team. Obviously, last night, a big win last night. Let's talk about the games in which we've had between the last time we talked and now. Split with Henderson, win at home, loss on the road, and then that win that was really needed last night versus Abbotsford.
Yeah,
how does that make the playoff race look?
Yeah, so still 3 points back of Ontario, but we have a game in hand. So that means we have one more game to play than the Reign, and we've been playing better than Ontario for basically half the season and been able to kind of track them down here. We were at one point, 15, 16 points back of Ontario, and now we're 3. So, that's looking good. Last night, to beat Abbotsford was great, because if the playoffs started right now, that would be your first round matchup. The Condors and Abbotsford, and it's looking more and more like we'll start on the road, which is how the chips fall, and obviously probably a result of a bad December. But other than that, you look at this team, and I don't think anybody wants to play the Condors right now. I truly believe that. It's a team right now that's if you and you can't do this, but if you chopped off half the season and you just started at January 1st, this team would be in 3rd in the division right now. So that's a dangerous team. That's not a team like Ontario right now, who's kind of on the downswing, just trying to get themselves in the playoffs. Condors are on the upswing, and they're going to be dangerous in the first round, no matter who they play. So I think just a matter of time before they clinch a playoff berth. It can't come this weekend. It could come next week. But that being said, 2 big games against San Jose to really put the hammer on them and knock them out of things here.
Let's going to talk about that. I mean, talking about starting the playoffs on the road, a big road trip coming up, including 2 in San Jose, a team that has definitely struggled this year, to say it lightly.
Yeah.
How big is it to get those W's this weekend?
It's big, and there's been a little bit of a animosity between the two sides too. We've lost some guys to injuries in games, against San Jose, and I think it's fresh in the guys' mind. We just played them twice last week here at home and split with them. Didn't have a great game Friday, and then beat the doors off them on Saturday. But it's a chippy team. It's a young team. They're trying to battle their way in the postseason, and listen, they're going to be desperate this weekend, which leads to more animosity. They got swept in Colorado. Their backs are against the wall. If they get swept this weekend, it's just about over for them. If they split, they hang in it, and if they beat them, two games this weekend, they'll kind of pull themselves back in the race. But it's big. Two big games against San Jose, and anytime you have that that wounded dog or whatever it is, you let them stay asleep and let them go to bed and just put them away and not wake them up. So we'll see what happens this weekend, but should be two good ones with the Barracuda.
And of course, next Wednesday, another 2 important points is taking on the number 1 team,
yeah,
Coachella Valley. What's the prep like for that?
Yeah, a team we played really well this year. I actually like our matchup against Coachella Valley more so than most teams. I like out of the top 4. I would put Coachella Valley and Abbotsford as 2 teams matchup wise. I don't mind for the Condors. Colorado, they're that's a tough place to play, and they've been playing really well. Calgary, I think is proven that they're probably the best team in the division right now, and they're the most balanced team. So we've had good success against Coachella Valley. 2-1-1 in 4 games. You get points in 3 out of 4 games against arguably the second best team in the league. You're doing something right. So Wednesday should be fun down at Palm Desert. Hopefully the end of a good road trip, and then a lot of home cooking down the stretch. I think it's 6 out of the last 8 at home. So it'll be a good road trip here for the guys to get some points on the road, and then hopefully come back, and we'll have some big crowds here the next couple of weekends, and should be a fun atmosphere.
To reiterate, they're on the road. They've been pretty much home, it feels like, for quite a while now. So what's that like? Because, they've had the home cook and they've had the home beds, and now they're going to have a little bit of time in a hotel.
Well, they took advantage of it, right? Like, we kind of looked at the schedule in January and February and said, let's try and keep our head above water. And that was basically just go 500. And the team went better than 500 and went almost 700 on the road. Then that set us up to really make a push in March, with the home games and with the stretch of games, where we weren't going to have to travel as much. And the team took advantage. They went, I think it's, 4 straight wins at home. Out of the 8 home games, it's 6-2 over those 8 home games, 12-2-2 in the last 16 at home. So we knew what the schedule was going to be like. Could we, keep our head above water January, February? Well, they went above and beyond in January and February. And now in March, you're taking care of what you need to take care of. Is 6-2 great at home? It's great, and it's continuing the climb up the division. But this team's been good no matter where they play. So not as concerned about road trips and things like that. San Jose is not an overly difficult place to play. Coachella Valley is not an overly difficult place to play. So, some good road trips coming up, and hopefully some wins on the road.
For those who can't make the road trip along with the team, but want to check out the team, what do they need to do?
Yeah, AHL TV this weekend, early games too. So 6 o'clock on Saturday, and then 3 o'clock on Sunday, which is great because one, it's a road trip, but also you're not really taxed coming home. We'll be back by midnight on Sunday, so it's a road game, but it's those afternoon Sundays are really great. So it'll be a fun trip, and hopefully a couple of wins.
Very important points on the line, and of course, important road trip on the way. So we'll talk between next time about this, and hopefully we'll have a whole lot of W's on the board from that.
Yeah, I'll have my voice by then, hopefully. Maybe not. Maybe we'll have a lot of goals to call.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Right now from the Bakersfield Condors, my name is Erik Fox from Energy 95.3. Every single week, we get you caught up on all things Condors Town with your Energy Condors connection. We'll get